Some might say, sure, Christianity has a good set of moral principles. But what good has it done to progress us forward into a more prosperous future? After all, if Christians had their way, they would set us back hundreds of years. And they're full of hypocritical and judgmental people who only like to tell everyone else what they're doing wrong, right? I mean, what good has Christianity actually brought us? In the Greek and Roman era, the foundation of our modern day society, they viewed human rights in a very different way than what we view them today. Slaves were given as gladiators, or in many cases, offered as human sacrifices. Plato even stated, infanticide is one of the regular institutions of an ideal state. Spartans who had deformed children would simply put them to death. Many abolitionists led others to see the value of human life with their own actions, like William Lloyd Garrison, who started the anti-slavery newspaper, The Liberator, in 1831, or Harriet Beecher Stowe, who converted many people to abolitionism with her novel Uncle Tom's Cabin. John Calvin, a 16th century theologian, recognized the importance of democracy within our society, stating, "It is an invaluable gift if God allows a people to freely elect its own authorities and overlords." Calvin also suggested a system of checks and balances. Around the same time, Calvinists and Lutherans developed a theory of the lesser magistrate, which would later inform the U.S. founding fathers in their writing of the Declaration of Independence. In 14th century Holland and England, individual rights for substance, education, job training, and membership in a community for children grew from Puritan and Protestant churches, giving children their own individual rights. Nicholas Copernicus and Galileo were both men of faith, whose search for God led them to father modern astronomy with the declaration that the sun is the center of our solar system and the invention of the telescope. In a report in 2023, the American Bible Society found that practicing Christians give at a rate of 95% to charitable organizations, while non-practicing Christians give at a rate of 68%, and non-believers give at a rate of 51%. While some Christians in the past and even today have either not contributed to society or committed evils against others or stood in the way of legitimate progress, we can't judge all of Christianity based upon the actions of those few. In fact, if the principles and the teachings of Jesus Christ are followed, then the outcome of Christianity should provide a general good for all of society, as seen by the previous examples. In the words of Frank Turek.
All right, I would ask them this question. What's your favorite band, musical group? So ask them the question, right? Now, suppose you went into a bar or a wedding or somewhere where a band was playing, right? It wasn't your favorite band, but it was a band that tried to play your favorite band songs and they were playing them poorly. Who would you blame? Would you blame the band that's playing it poorly, or the band that wrote the song and performed it well?
Probably the band playing it.
Poorly, right?
Yeah.
Well, the same thing is true with Christianity. Don't blame Jesus for people that don't emulate him well. Because people don't emulate him well, that doesn't change the fact that Jesus is God and our Savior.
In the same way, if someone is warping and corrupting the teachings of Jesus, we shouldn't blame his teachings, but place the blame solely on those individuals. While I gave some examples of how Christianity has benefited society, these are not the only actions that Christianity has facilitated, but they are far more numerous. While it may not be a popular opinion, being a Christian doesn't mean that you're any more harmful than anyone else from any other belief system. In fact, it should mean that you're more helpful, as that's how Jesus taught and what his principles are based upon. May I encourage you to continue to follow along with me as we learn more about this God and his expectations for us and his loving character. May God keep you and bless you. Really quick, before you go, let me explain why I felt led to start this channel. When talking to Pilate, Jesus said, "I have come into the world to bear witness to the truth. Everyone who is of the truth listens to my voice." Pilate responds by asking, "What is the truth?" It's evident that a lot of people are still asking this question almost 2,000 years later. And while we live in an amazing time with the wealth of the world's knowledge available in the palm of our hands, there's often too much information, leaving people unable to process what's true and what's not true. Paul describes such times in this way when he writes his second letter to his disciple Timothy: "Always learning and never able to arrive at a knowledge of the truth." There are several who expound on what truth is, but often they are misguided, or they are malice in their intent, or they're being intellectually dishonest. My hope is that I am able to provide evidence for why the scriptural narrative is true, a contextual and practical explanation of the principles found in its writings, and a defense for other believers. As Peter explains, you should always be prepared to make a defense to anyone who asks you for a reason for the hope that is in you, yet do it with gentleness and respect. If you find value in this channel as I do, there are a few ways you can help, both by gifting and without spending any money. First, react and interact with these videos wherever you're watching from. This greatly helps the channel be seen by others and new people. Next, please share this content with others you feel may benefit from the information found here. Also, please subscribe to this channel on all social media. And finally, if you feel led to, and if you have the means to, please consider giving to this channel through the outlets previously mentioned, or the channel's Patreon. All these links are going to be in the video description. Thank you for watching, and may God keep you and bless you.